In this video, I'm going to talk about a lot of things people take for granted. Health insurance.
Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. Everything expat.
Welcome back to my channel. I appreciate everybody who's newly subscribed, people who are newly watching my channel. Thank you so much. In this video, I want to talk about something that most people overlook: health insurance. As a cancer survivor, as somebody who just went through a second cancer scare in this month of September 2024, I want to talk about my experience going through the medical system here. The first thing that's so important for people to have is good health insurance. My belief is, if you know you're going to be spending extended periods of time down here, go get health insurance. Even if you have it back home, think about getting a plan here. The last thing you want to be is the next gringo GoFundMe because I got into a motorcycle accident. I got hit by a car. I slipped on wet tile. I slipped on the uneven concrete in town. You guys, you got to maintain your health. And more importantly, you got to plan for those accidents. I've seen too many people come down here, be unprepared, and end up having to leave the country for a medical issue, or not being able to leave the country and get the level of care that they want because of health insurance. So my situation was, when I was 29, I had stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is basically cancer of the blood. It's one of the reasons that I live in the Caribbean, because the chemotherapy that I had affected my lungs. So cold air and my lungs are not good friends. I get pneumonia super quick, super easy. And just the air quality back home in Jersey, just being around tons of smokers, the cold air, I just live a healthier lifestyle down here. But there was always the possibility that my cancer could come back in my mid-50s. Well, guess what? I'm 56. So I woke up one morning with a little lump on the back of my neck here. So I wanted to see if it would go away, because if it was fat, I could fast for a day or two, completely, a complete fast, and that'll tell me if it shrinks. I know it's fat. So anyway, it didn't shrink. So I went to the hospital. First thing I did was call my private physician. I said, hey, I got a lump. Who should I talk to? Where should I go? And my doctor said, John, I'm going to send you to this doctor. We're going to go through the stages. Now, as a cancer survivor, I know what to look for. I know the process, which really helped me out down here a lot. But the saving grace that I had, I wasn't thinking about, oh crap, how am I going to pay for this? I've had health insurance down here since I was 42 or 43. The sooner you get health insurance down here, the easier it is and the cheaper it is. You get to a certain age, they're going to want medical tests. They're going to want a lot of things done. But when you get it, the sooner you can get it, the better. And real quick, the plan that I have with the company I have, it's in the scheme of things, it's less than $1,200 American a year. And that's the best plan I could possibly buy. So I knew I had that in the bag. I knew I had that covered just for this day. And I had it planned for, not that I want to get sick again, but it was in the works to cover my tail for the last 10 years, if not longer. So I could just focus on, okay, what are the medical procedures I got to do? When it comes to something like that, you really want to have that peace of mind. If you've ever been sick and if you ever had some kind of real medical issue, the last thing you want is financial stress. So when the bump came out and it didn't go away after a couple days, then I called my private doctor, boom, went to a dermatologist, which I really didn't want to do. And I said, just send me to an oncologist, but John, we're going to go through the procedure, no problem. The dermatologist said, we're going to send you to CMC, oncologist, which here's where the real point of the story really begins. When I was sick the first time, I'm from southern New Jersey. I'm from a half an hour north of Atlantic City in a small town. When I got sick, I went to Philadelphia. I did surgeries at Hahnemann University, which is a fantastic hospital, and the University of Penn, another fantastic hospital. So I'm used to having medical treatment top-notch. The surgeon, Dr. Hagen, God rest his soul, removed this lymph node here. They used to fly Dr. Hagen from the roof of Hahnemann University to Walter Reed in D.C. to take care of President Clinton when he had his throat issues. So I had the same doctor as the president. Crazy shit. But so I'm used to that level of care, especially when you're 29 and sick. You know, the doctors are real in tune to that, were real in tune to me because I was young. I was a young man. So when I went to Centro Medicio in Puerta Plata. I had 2 appointments with my oncologist. Great guy. I liked him. He didn't like me too much, though, because I would tell him, I don't want a needle biopsy. I want it removed. My thing is, if it's there, I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. And he's like, no, we can just do a needle biopsy. I'm like, no, we can't. What we're going to do, we're going to take it out because it's painful. And that's the key. You always tell, it hurts. You got to take it out. It hurts. Then they're going to take it out. If you just say, oh, I don't like it. I don't like the looks, like the appearance. That's, then they're going to be like, too bad. Just deal with it. We don't deal with cosmetic issues. But when you say it's painful, I can't sleep because of the way it's positioned on my neck, I knew the things to say to get what I want. So when I was in Bernagal, the way things are set up is a little different. My assistant at Casa De Compai, I said, just make me the doctor's appointment. She's like, John, can you be there tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock? I said, yeah, not a problem. So I get there at 8:30, and there's a line in front of the oncologist's office. What I learned is that all the appointments start at 9 o'clock in the morning. You can go online and make an appointment for 1 in the afternoon, but everybody's going to show up at 9, and then it's first come, first serve. So I learned that real quick. So it took me a couple hours to see the oncologist. Very thorough. He knew what he was talking about, but he sent me for the right test. And when you're really sick, you want to have faith in your doctor. You want to say, do I have confidence in him? Am I going to get the right treatment I need? Since me doing this before and getting 6.5 months of chemo and a bone marrow biopsy and all this other stuff, my experience paid off, which I hope nobody has that experience going forward. So he sent me for a chest x-ray. He sent me for a cardiovascular test to make sure my circulatory system was good, my heart was strong, my lungs are clear. I got an ultrasound here and blood work. For me, the blood work was the most important thing, because when you're really sick, your blood work just gives them a game plan on what's going on. White count, blood cell, sugar, all that good stuff plays into it, especially with cancer. They're going to look at cell count. So he was sending me for all the right tests, but compared to an American hospital, it's first come, first serve. So you still have that, I don't want to say the level of Dominican chaos, but there's a level of Dominican chaos that went into this. But what I liked, I could go wait in line with my proper health insurance. They saw my health insurance. They were like, cha-ching, perfect, we got this. So I just went and did all my tests, got in line, did the test. So it wasn't as drawn out as the American system was, because the American system, you got to get, for a certain test, you got to get approval from your health insurance. Then you got to make the appointment, and then it could be weeks, to 10 days to get the appointment, depending on how sick they think you are. So there was a lot of inefficiency in how it was set up, but there was also a lot of efficiency, where if me being the proactive kind of guy I am, let's get this done. I'm not going to take no for an answer. I was able to get everything done in a shorter period of time than I could have in the States. That made me feel better, because that waiting game sucks. It really does. Am I sick again? Is this going to affect my life? What if I am sick? What do I do with the business? What do I do with my dogs? How do I keep day-to-day operations going? You got a million questions going through your mind. And if you're like me, you want to have 3 answers for every question, A, B, and C. The easiest answer to the hardest answer, for it to execute your answers. So that's going through your mind. So getting all that test work done quickly was fantastic. Getting the actual tests, the blood work done, the chest X-ray, that takes 10 minutes tops. Blood work, had it back the next day. Chest X-ray, the ultrasound, the cardiovascular stuff, I had it all within a day or 2. Then it was just, well, let's schedule the surgery. All right, come back in next Friday. Now, here's the one thing that I didn't like. I didn't like this at all. I shouldn't say this, especially if my old doctors ever see this. I was the kind of guy that for an example, when I had to get my bone marrow biopsy, and if you imagine the 2 flat parts of your pelvis, they basically take an auger, and they just drill into the middle of that bone, and they just suck out the bone marrow. I didn't want anybody with me, so I drove myself in and out of Philly all the time. Even my chemo, I'd get chemo every other Friday, and it was almost a 5-hour ordeal. I didn't want anybody with me. I would drive myself. So I'm thinking, I'm going to do the same thing again. I don't need anybody. I'm going to drive myself. So I go to admissions to schedule my surgery. And they're like, who's going to be with you? I'm like, don't worry about it. I got it. I'll drive myself. And they're like, oh, no. I'm like, it's not a big surgery. I'm not getting anesthesia. It's going to be local. They give you local anesthesia instead of actually putting you out. They're like, nope. If you don't show up with somebody, you ain't getting the surgery. This is a non-negotiable, John. So sorry. You need to show up with somebody. And I'm like, damn. I don't have a lot of friends here by choice. I said, the last thing I'm going to do is ask some people that I do know to take time off. And this is what I love about the Dominican Republic. I call my taxi driver. Hey, Manuel, what are you doing next Friday at 5 in the morning? Where are we going? You're going to drive me to the hospital. I'm going to get surgery, and you're going to act like my best friend. How much money do you want? He goes, John, give me $3,000 for the trip to and from. I said, I'll buy you breakfast. He goes, I don't want breakfast. But so that's what I love about the DR. You have different hurdles here to jump over. But when you learn the language, you develop friendships with the people that you do business with. You're respected within the community. Things just have a way of falling in place. So Manny picked me up, 5 o'clock, boom. We drive to Centro Medicio in Puerta Plata. I check in. Now I'm thinking, all right, we're going to go to just a little room. No, wheelchair comes. I hate being driven around in a wheelchair. If you know what I'm talking about, you understand. Absolutely hate it. So we go to the full-blown surgical part of the hospital. I'm thinking, because all the other times I've had these little nodes taken out, it's been in the doctor's office. Boom, boom, boom. He gives me a shot. Locally numbs the area. I wear a mask. I watch him operate. Boop, scalpel. Skin's tight. Opens up. Tumor pops up. Clamp. Cut. Psst, put some burn it so it stops bleeding. Yep, John, it's fat. Boom, you're good to go. We're in the operating room, like where you would have open heart surgery operating room, because I've been in them too. So I knew the medical equipment. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I see my oncologist. So the first question in my mouth, You giving me anesthesia or is it local? And he's like, calm down, you're getting local. So it was as well as any other medical procedure that I've had in the States. It went quick. It went easy. They knew what they were doing. And to be honest, this wasn't like serious, intense operation. But the whole time I'm in Puerta Plata, every office I went to, every test I did, I'm evaluating it with my history at Hahnemann or the University of Penn. And granted, you can't compare the two physical structures. You can't compare the ease of getting from point A to point B because you're still in a developing country. But the nurses, the doctors, the administration and the staff were just as kind. They were just as nice, just as thoughtful as any hospital I've ever been in. There's such a value in that if you've ever been really sick and having so many things going on at one time and then having somebody who's short with you, who's rude. They could be having a bad day. There's so many reasons why, but it's when they have good bedside manners, that really, really sets the whole tone for whatever procedure you're doing. And when I was in Bornegao, for the day I was there, it was nice as far as operations can go. I can't really say one bad thing other than not being able to drive myself to and from. But overall, the experience was good. Now, if I'm having triple bypass heart surgery, I think I might go to Miami or Santo Domingo or Santiago. Not to say anything bad about Puerta Plata, but when you have the ability to choose, am I going to go home to have a more intense surgery, or do I have the health care down here to cover that? Now, there's two major healthcare carriers on the island. One of them, I've had them both. One of them has every year your limits reset. So what I'm talking about is, as a cancer survivor, if my cancer were to come back, obviously I'm going to get chemotherapy or radiation or both. Are my limits of the amount of money that that insurance company will spend on that treatment, is it a lifetime? Once you hit that peso amount and it's over, or does that limit reset every year? One of them does not reset. One of them keeps, when you max out and you use that allotted peso amount, you're done. So really, ask some good questions that pertain to your medical history. You have to ask what doctors are available on my plan locally. I have the best plan you could buy. For the price it cost me a year, you'd be a fool not to. And I've seen way too many people down here die because they neglected going to the clinic or the hospital. And let me talk about that as well. Because as a foreigner, we're not covered under the medical system here. You can go to a public hospital like the Haitians do and get treatment. I wouldn't suggest that. But if you're going to go to a private clinic like Cabarete Medical Center, Bornegao, they're going to want to get paid. It's not like the United States where you walk into a county hospital that accepts public money. They have to treat you. It's not like that here for your private clinics. So it's up to you to come down here and be properly insured. Otherwise, they're going to want to see a credit card when you check in, and they're not going to treat you. They'll call you an ambulance and send you to the public hospital where you're going to get free treatment. So you really, really got to understand that when you're down here, It's not like Canada with the public health system. It's definitely not like the States. So it's up to you to make sure when that emergency hits, you have some way to get the treatment you need. And I've heard stories of guys going to the Mac machine, macking out money to pay for a medical procedure, an emergency medical procedure. I had guys tell me the story, and I can't imagine that fear, being in that situation, having to do that. So if you're down here, get health insurance for, even if it's a simple plan. Something's better than nothing. So guys, don't be the next gringo GoFundMe. You can get some decent quality medical procedures done. I've done it. I just did it 3 weeks ago with no side effects. You know, a big thing about getting operations done is infection, because believe it or not, hospitals are not the most sterile place. There's just too many sick people floating around. Too many, you know, it is what it is. But no, I thought my experience was, I don't want to say the word excellent, but it was as far as a medical procedure could go. I felt safe. I felt comfortable. I felt confident in the nurses and the doctors around me, which makes me feel more comfortable going on. Even though I've been living down here since 2017 permanently, and coming down here since 2010, I ain't getting any younger. So it's nice to know that I had this experience under my belt and understanding the routine. So, and the routine is different. You know, like I said, when you walk in, you've got to find your doctor's office. You know, find the number of the office. They all have numbers. And everybody's polite. Everybody will ask. Everybody you ask will help you. But it's just a different system. It's a different setup. So having that experience made things a lot easier. So if you have to take somebody to the hospital, help them out. Take them out to the hospital, because then you can see what it's like, how things run. So if you're ever the patient, it won't be as stressful. So guys, that's just my experience getting an operation down here. What I thought of the medical procedure. Again, very happy with it. Very happy with it. But guys, thanks for watching. Always remember, keep private personal and personal private. Guys, please subscribe, like. Peace out.